I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ellings. Present. Ferris.
Here.
Aaron's.
Here.
Keating.
Present.
Bikeman.
Present.
Rom.
Here.
Prater.
Present.
Gurecki.
Present.
Collins present.
Thank you. First up, we need to look at adding a number 8 to the business and discussion items to discuss the 1-month extension requested by North Central Regional Planning Commission for the Lagoon Improvements Project.
Move we add item 8 on the lagoon extension.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll add that to number 8. All right, so first up we have approval of minutes.
Move to approve regular minutes, October 28, 2024 is written.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next we have public comments. Anybody who's not already in the on the agenda, this would be a time to come forward and speak to a maximum of 5 minutes. Please give your first name, last name, your address, and ward. Seeing no one, Convention Tourism Report, Wayne Cruzy.
Good evening, Wayne Cruzy here, representing One Marysville. I like the fact that in the Department of Commerce at the state level houses the Main Street program, it houses the Arts Commission, it houses tourism, because from the top I feel they model how we should be working locally. And so as I've been going to conferences this past month, this theme about reaching out, reaching broader has been a common theme in these conferences. For example, even as I think about the history of how we promote the town, they really want you to reach across the aisle. And so there's a lot of work with the World Cup coming specifically. They're talking about how those of us who are 2 to 3 hours out will feel the presence of all of those visitors coming in 2026. And so from our office, we've already reached out to Ryan Kern. He's the new Economic Development Tourism Director in Washington County. And we're working with Kylie Bergstrom out of Seneca to say, hey, while you're here, whether it's for the World Cup or other times, what are some things we have in common to promote this area? And since we have the Pony Express in common, that's one of the things that we're discussing is how, as a region, can we get people to come here and stay here? The great thing is we have the hotels, so it gets them here to do the transient guest tax. But even on maybe a smaller level, if you looked at this month's Marshall County Community Calendar, the paper calendars this month, it's kind of that goldenrod, you'll notice it's front and back, and it's a Marshall County calendar. We have been doing Marysville only, and then as we're working with the Marshall County Tourism, Marshall County Development Corporation, they said, well, could we make that a Marshall County calendar? And when you think about, we like to say that every day you come here, there are things to do. Well, sometimes that's not true. But if we look at this from a county-wide approach and promote, hey, we've got this going on, but if you're here on this day, there's Frankfurt, you see more of a combined approach. So you'll see a little bit of movement in our office in that regard. Another thing that comes up is this concept of we're all in charge of tourism, we're all in charge of making visitors and locals feel welcome. And it rang true. We have a new minister who's moved here at the church I attend, the Evangelical United Church of Christ. He's moved here from Alberta, Canada. And it was interesting to see his perspectives as he moved to town, because even before he moved to town, he felt welcomed. And he references Ethan Crownover and the folks at Citizen State Bank, because early on he found out bringing his car across the border was going to become economically problematic. And so he needed, once he moved here to Marysville, he needed to have a car. And he talked about this amazing customer service from afar. This is all done over the phone or via email, that he already felt welcome. And I thought, what a great reminder no matter where we are, where we work, we all have an impact on our residents, and sometimes these visitors then become residents. So it was a good reminder. When I talked to our hotel managers about the occupancy in October, they all noted higher occupancy. We were at 40% for the month, which is better than it was in September, so that's good news. I've got Brian Ostrovsky with me today. Brian, the last meeting, I believe we talked about our DOC grant, Digital Opportunities Connecting Kansans. And so Brian's going to be with us several times over the next couple months. Brian has a business called Locable. So he works with businesses and organizations on how to market your company. He specializes, or I feel he specializes in working with towns like ours, where he understands how our smaller businesses operate and how our organizations operate. So Brian, I've asked to come and say hi, and he's got these next 3 days he's scheduled in many of our businesses and organizations talking about ways to help them with marketing.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I'm learning about all the things going on in the community and the consolidation into one Marysville. And I think that's a really smart thing, because economic development, supporting the businesses you have, attracting new businesses, tourism, and of course engaging locals is such an important thing. So I told Wayne already, I feel like you're just before this interesting inflection point. There's a lot of cool things happening, and we work with about 200 communities around the country, a lot of Main Street communities. You're going to start seeing a lot of fruit coming out of what's happening here. So I think if I came back in a year, people would be like, wow, look at all this stuff that's just shown up. Amazing. So I'm here this week to do a lot of coaching and training, mostly with small businesses, but also some of your museums and maybe a few other nonprofits. I'm not quite sure yet. And the goal that I have for this time is to equip them to do a better job of telling their stories, which is largely about sharing examples. I hope you're going to see this play out as more people are highlighted as customers or guests or volunteers at these various organizations. And I knew but forgot about the World Cup, and I strongly encourage you to view yourselves as the center of perhaps this county, but also, I don't know what county I'm in. I'm just driving along, and at one point last night, I didn't know what state I was in, and I just had to figure it out. So as you have people visiting, they're not going to know. They're just going to look for things to do. So being good neighbors will go a long way, and not for nothing, but we work with a lot of communities in this area. And our coolest feature at my company, which is totally free, automates cross-promotion. So we're going to talk more about how you can build out some really cool thing to do maps in the area. But it's fun to get to see, like I said, communities that are embracing the Main Street approach and doing some great things. And so I'll be here all week helping folks, and I still have some slots in my schedule over the next few days. But I'm glad I'm here at a time where I can come and join your council session. So anyways, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Council. Thank you. Anything, questions?
Question.
Yeah.
I don't know if the conversation's already been had with Marshall County Sports and Rec in regards to the World Cup. I know they've got a pretty thriving little soccer program they do in the fall up here that's actually gotten to where they have teams from surrounding counties that come and play here. So it's been a good draw for Marysville because it's unique in the area, and maybe somehow that could be connected or parlayed and, you know, drive up some of the youth interest. I think it's pretty obvious that soccer is a up and coming sport amongst the youth, whereas there were no leagues when I was a kid around here. So,
you know, I'm glad you, we've been talking about other things, but I haven't talked to them about this yet. So I'm glad you said that. I'll add that
could
to
be
our
mutually
list.
beneficial
Absolutely.
for them too. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I would also like to ask, in your third paragraph, you wanted clarification on the $7,500 expenditure rule.
Yeah.
So
I saw that was next on the agenda, so I didn't know if you want to talk about it now or
Well,
then.
I guess if we wait to the next business item.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. You're not running away.
Okay. I
Okay,
won't.
thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
All right, moving on to business and discussion items. First up, we have the One Marysville contract. This has been the Admin and Finance Committee, I believe, met about this in conjunction with the One Marysville group several times, had a lot of discussion about trying to find a manageable spot where we can have sufficient funding without overextending ourselves in case bed taxes and things do not come in as we might fear them coming in. So is there any questions or comments in this
I think,
contract?
what I would say is, I think the committee met several times on this and had several iterations of, let's go here, let's go there, and I feel comfortable with where we're at right now.
The committee did recommend this.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the contract with One Marysville.
Second.
Okay? Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the contract? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next up we have the Christmas tree request. Now we have a full docket of possible options laid out. 4 artificial trees, 2 live trees, no partridge in the pear trees. What are the council's thoughts on these options? I've got some opinions.
I do too. You know I do.
I like the live tree that
I
we
do
plant
too.
and watch it grow.
I do too.
Yeah, but not the live tree, you cut it down and put it up, and
The permanent tree.
the permanent live tree, and I think not just certain places, but I think there could be other opportunities around town to put them up.
It is also, I would note, the lowest of the costs. I mean, you're assuming that it takes root, it doesn't get sick and things like that, but that's unlikely.
But if we went the live tree route, would we be willing to help with maybe that irrigation side of it for the first 5 years of
I think we could probably figure
5
something
gallons
out.
per foot of tree or whatever the tree people tell us?
Do we have a current maintenance program for the downtown trees, the streetscape trees? We did at one time.
Yeah, I believe.
So I don't know if this is something that could be possibly connected to that. Also, this might be a good project for, as far as picking the specific tree and coming up with locations for the tree board, since we have a tree board and they don't meet frequently, and I mean, this might be kind of well suited to them.
How
If
big
that
a
is
tree
the
they
path.
looking at?
Exactly.
We looking at like a 2-foot tree, or we looking at like a 6 or 7 foot?
Oh,
It says starting height 4 to 5 feet.
I think
Could
you'd
be
go, I think if we could find one, you would go higher than that.
Yeah.
Cause you could leave it in the root ball.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Till
'cause
spring.
they
The
can
bigger you
spade
start
anything
with-
out anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how the council wishes to proceed on this. Obviously, this year is one thing. We're kind of behind the 8 ball, but as far as next year, if this is something we want to send to the tree board to work on, then they can come up with some good options and work on that direction. I don't know if anybody has any other thoughts, if that is the council's desire to go in the direction of a live planted tree.
And the reason I go that way is last year we had some challenges with maintaining the upright stature of the tree.
Yeah.
I could see that same challenge with a artificial tree. And we could have a storm come through and we're out of tree. Could have a storm come through and out a natural tree, but if we had a natural tree or maybe 4 or 5 down the road in different areas, I think it would be kind of a cool thing.
And I assume that other interested parties in the community are equally on board with any of these options. It's more the premise that we do something festive and community-oriented here, so it's the council's wishes.
Make,
Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
You have a company here in town that can
Move trees.
Move trees?
move trees also, I mean,
that's what
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
Yeah, they have the big,
Yep.
Yeah,
they've done it for
spade.
the city before.
you can put a big one up that you can already decorate this year.
yep.
Well, if we can get the tree board to discuss it and get right on it this month. I don't know how busy they are,
I just wanted to,
but yeah, no, good point, Kent.
Yeah, that's kind of what was in the back of my head,
Okay.
is get the
So-
Gudenkauf kids to,
Is the consensus
a
to
tree.
go off of a plant, do a planted tree and send it to the tree board to meet ASAP?
yep.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, would you just make sure the tree board works with us?
Sure.
We have the overall vision for, Josh and I have talked as well, about what we want the city to look like for Christmas, so if we can just keep everyone on the same page.
Yeah, sure. You're worried about being an ugly Charlie Brown Christmas tree thing?
I'm not, but I just, location is important.
Sure, absolutely. And
And there's
again,
challenges with a
there
lot
are-
of the locations that have been
And
popularly thought of,
if
so.
we need to do something, I don't want us to do it slapdash and regret the choice of tree or location by getting it done this year. If we need to do something to fill in, we can do that, but yes.
Can I give you an update on something that does apply to this? For this year, we're creating a Christmas Wonderland. So in the Kester Park, where Santa's house is, Sonia Stahl is working to have things from December 7th through January 4th. So there'll be like a big igloo, there'll be a gingerbread house when kids are saying Santa, and when they're not saying Santa, it'll be an area to go to. And so I feel we're putting a lot of attention there. We do have that artificial tree that's stored in the chapel right now. It could go up again this year if we wanted it to. And then we have this beautiful Christmas Wonderland. So that could be this year's, and we would be fine. I
So
mean,
there-
I feel we would be fine if you would feel we'd be
So
fine.
you don't feel like we need to panic?
We don't need to panic. I don't think we do, council, unless you do.
Okay.
Because I feel we'll have a fabulous festive space that's new this year anyway.
Okay, well, like I said, I think if we do this pretty deliberatively as far as the choices of location and tree, make sure One Marysville's involved, make sure we use our local companies if we
Yeah.
can as well, that'd be the way to go, for sure.
Are we kind of getting a little behind with, I mean, just to add on to this, with when you plant the tree optimally is?
I think we're
spring,
getting there.
fall, like,
Yeah.
kind of pushing.
I think you rely on the tree planters.
Correct,
yeah. To tell you
Our
those
tree
kind of
board is
things.
our subject matter experts in the field, so they're well suited to have this
I
conversation.
just want to make sure that we don't turn into a Hallmark or Lifetime scene, because I've already started watching those channels most
It's on
recently.
you, it's on you, Jeff.
Not on me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you going to the big Hallmark thing?
No.
All right, we will send that to the tree board and they can bring back some recommendations. Next up, we have item number 3, which is the RFP discussion around the Charles J.D. Kester house.
No, as an update, I did talk with Laura Butler and her group, and they did decide that they wanted to pull out from the process, so that does leave one remaining group. So your choices from there are either you can choose the group, you can go back out for the RFP, or you can start the process all over, or you could hold on, hold off for a while.
Basically, all options are on the table. We can reject and move to other options if we want, or we can proceed with the remaining option that was presented to us.
I personally am not ready to make a decision on that.
Okay.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Is there information that you want city staff or otherwise to gather to help you in these decisions, or how can we kind of move the process along, or kind of in general, I guess?
Would you like another meeting set up with the remaining group?
Right. I mean, is it something they can answer questions, or is it something you just want to ruminate on, gather community opinion, kind of, what are your thoughts?
If I had to make a choice right now, I would say let's start from scratch and go out again.
Because one of the concerns was the timeline of when the city took it over to, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's the original agreement worry. It lends itself more to a lease than to a purchase at this
So
point.
a temporary lease until a purchase. That's where I'm kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hanging.
Yep.
We have, I believe, tentatively discussed transferring the museum to the foundation in April. And I'm not, if the museum foundation ends up with that Charles J.D. Kester house, that's fine, but I would say if we can kind of make some decisions, if we're gonna go back and do another RFP, I'd like for us to be mindful of that timeline, just because we're, again, paying utilities on a building that's not being used, and I don't want us to get caught in a situation where we have a lot of overlapping, complicated timelines and expenses that we can avoid.
But we're still handing the museum over to them
As far as I'm
April
aware,
1st.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
in April.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this is something where we aren't gonna make a decision tonight, but we wanna make it a final decision at the next meeting, the second November meeting, we can do that, but I think we do need to decide if we are going to move forward with the, RFP remaining, or if we're gonna go back to the drawing board soon.
How many more meetings to the end of the year?
Well,
Three. I mean,
there's, and the end of the year.
would you like to
so-
have it done by the end of the year? or
I'd like
how
to
long?
I'd like to have a plan. By then, if we're gonna do another RFP, I think it'd be good to get it in place before the end of the year. And if not, I think we need to start getting, basically our paperwork in order. I'd like to see us by, if not the second yes, I'd like to see us by the second meeting in November, have a plan for what we're gonna do moving forward, so we can start putting that together. Because if it is an RFP, it will have to be drawn up, we'll have to tweak things as needed, it'll have to come back in December, we'll have to publish it. I mean, the timelines are such, if we delay it too much longer, then we're just doing ourselves a disservice.
And I think if we do go down the route of doing another RFP, we need to be very clear about, hey, we have a time frame of a lease until purchase, based on the documents that we have on the Kester property, so.
Do we need to have a special meeting to discuss all this?
I think it's just a meeting, second meeting in December.
December or November?
November's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next meeting will be the 26th,
25th.
25th, you're right. It's not gonna have to be a Tuesday. It'll be the 25th, so, I mean, I guess if we can table this if that's the will of council, but be thoughtful on how you would like to proceed so we can come ready that night to make some decisions for moving forward.
Can we filter questions to the administrator individually?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And then, if he feels that there's something valid, he can filter out to the rest of us? Okay.
Yeah. And if you have any thoughts like that, that's a great idea, so that way, just because you might have a spark of an idea that others haven't had yet, it could be of value to everyone, so.
Yep. You have my phone number, you have my email. Come on.
You're still on my phone as Austin St. John.
There you
All right.
Where's Josh? Oh, there he is.
Moving on to item number 4, moving the interim city clerk to an exempt position. This
I make
is,
a motion to approve Sammy as an exempt position.
Second.
okay. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You. And connected to this, or no, I'm not connected to this. Item number 5 is the wage adjustment. This is something the Admin and Finance Committee has met on, as far as making some adjustments to the pay for full-time employees. Josh, do you want to speak to it a little bit?
Yeah, so ultimately, full-time employees must fit into one or the other category. So the first category would be if they have served for a full year of service with the city and are classified as the following positions: maintenance 1, maintenance 2, utility clerk, payroll clerk, or police officer, or they must have been promoted within the last 5 years and not received the subsequent raise from the promotion. Ultimately, this should affect about 2 employees per department, so fairly even across the board. But it's also those that, it'll help a lot.
And the raise will be an additional $1 an hour, correct?
Yes. And
Move to approve wage adjustment.
Second.
I'll second that, but I want to amend it. Can we backdate it to the start of payroll, which would have been Sunday? 2 days ago, right?
so we just sent out checks, yeah, we can, yeah.
So,
Sunday.
like, effective 11/10? That'd be good.
Good for me.
Okay.
Still stands.
Okay?
Does that go along with the second page too?
No, that'll be our next
Okay,
item.
Just clarifying.
Yep. All right, the wage adjustment has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanna say, I think all of our employees deserve more money. That just needs to be said. I know we are not in a position to do what we all feel probably needs to be done. I think, the whole council believes that all of our employees deserve more. We just have to, come up with, unique ways of making it happen. But I think this is a good step forward, showing them that, we're listening to them and that we think they're deserving of it, so.
I agree.
That's all I want to say.
We've got to show that, we appreciate the hard work they do. This is one of the ways we can do that. And also, we're kind of at a bad spot for the budget year, but next budget year, everybody needs to remember that we've got to find a way to be more competitive, because it's, we've got to compete with other industries locally, and we want the cream of the crop that we have now. We want to keep our good, hands around, so. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. And next up, we have the longevity bonus policy. This is one where we are trying to amend it to more closely match other local government entities like the county, because it's been very much behind the times. It's been way too low. The Admin and Finance Committee discussed this one as well, and thought we should move it up substantially. So the entry level for 2 years of service on this is actually higher than I believe the top level was before. Am I wrong? What was the?
No, so 2 years of service is the same, 3 years is the same. We're adjusting 4 to 7 to be 4 to 9 years of service, and that's actually higher than what the county's is at 5. But then from then on, we're copying the county's policy, because previously our policy only went to 20 plus years, and it was $225 for a year. Now at 20 years, they'll be able to earn $660, and it'll go all the way up to 30 plus years, which is $1,320. So if you put in the time with our organization, we want to make sure that you're paid for it.
Yeah, any questions on this?
I think, and it was pretty much a unanimous consent with the Admin and Finance that this is the direction we need to go, and
Move to approve longevity bonus changes.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have number 7, which is a discussion on the Chief of Police reporting hierarchy. This is something that's been a hot subject of discussion of late. It's been a subject of discussion with previous councils for 6, 8 years.
So why did this come up again?
Because there's been some concern with the exit of our Chief of Police as far as the reporting hierarchy as it is versus how it once was versus how it is in other communities.
I think we need to stick to the current policy.
Yes.
And if the current policy is that the city administrator determines who's going to be the acting, that's the way I read everything. And I read it several times, but
There's several questions at play here. I think that is one part of the discussion, is basically what policy is and which policy comes into play given the circumstances. But then there's also the issue of the charter ordinance changes that have been made as far as whether the chief of police reports to the council via to the city administrator and then to the council, or directly to the council via basically a different channel.
well, it was my understanding that when we made the changes,
Yeah.
2020, 2019, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
5, 6 maybe.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the chief of police, which I never could figure out why we made the change, the chief of police reports to the administrator, but not the city clerk, but that's a whole different
That's also-
discussion.
Well, but it's also kind of
Yeah, it's,
strange.
Yeah,
and I guess it comes down to is, do we want the chief of police to report to the city administrator or the council?
Well, and
And right
when,
now, it's, the way it's written, they report to the,
Council, or to the, sorry,
City
city
administrator.
administrator, correct.
and when this came up not that long ago, and Aaron looked at it, and Aaron said, if we change it, his recommendation was not to, because if we change it and there becomes a problem and that individual goes to sue the city, each one of us individually is going to be sued, not just the city.
How is that different from the city clerk? Can she not do the same thing? Because it's the same exact position. So, or the city administrator. City administrator can be fired by us. Can he not turn around and sue us? So I don't understand that argument.
it's not an individual liability in my,
That's
I'm
what-
sorry, it's not an individual liability in my mind. It's Kansas is a right to work state.
Right.
Does anybody want to argue that?
No.
That's,
So how would how would the police chief sue us individually? That ain't no different.
well, they can't.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
understand that argument. It doesn't make sense
Can't
to
now
me.
with the way the ordinance is written.
Right.
If we change it to where they have to report to council and something happens, they can individually name each one of us in a lawsuit.
Okay, so
Make
why
sense?
can't the city clerk?
Because
How is
she
that
can-
different?
She could.
Okay, that's what I'm
That's
saying,
not,
yeah.
the city clerk is the one that's like exempt from this.
But I think we shouldn't be lawyers because we don't have our city attorney here with us
Right.
right now.
Well, and I'm fine with us chewing this
Yeah.
over with Aaron and at greater length, because before we make any kind of legalistic decisions, we do have somebody on contract who's,
And that's what he said before. That was his, when he said that it should not be changed because of that.
and I know we had a different city attorney when it came out before, and his recommendations, I remember as well, were similar, but there has been discussion about whether it's appropriate to get an attorney general's opinion, or whether maybe we should research it further to kind of verify. I don't know if we should or shouldn't. I don't know that it's a problem. I know it's a concern.
So who says we need to get the Attorney General involved?
Well, it was brought up by previous council, but it was voted on and
It did come up to a vote before. I don't remember when the date.
But
What the thing was, what we did before was we reiterated what had been changed in 2011 by passing that ordinance.
what was passed in 2011?
That's when it was originally changed, was in 2011.
Can you read that to me? Can you?
I don't have it here.
It's been before
Well,
my,
then why do we have to pass ordinance 1900?
Because there was speculation going around by somebody that he could only be fired by the council. And we passed that to show that we were all on one page, because he could not be fired by the council, he had to be fired by the city
But it
administrator.
conflicts with ordinance 1891.
I'm not gonna,
I think it's something that if we want to,
But it's all there, it's all written.
yeah, if
I've
we
read
want
through
to,
it all. There's a lot of conflicting stuff.
I think that if we want to get clarification, we need to get clarification from council.
Because
legal
Attorney
counsel.
McNish told us that there was some inconsistencies, conflicting issues with those two ordinances. So that's why we had to pass ordinance 1900.
Correct.
To fix those, but we never were told what they were,
Right.
okay? And that was in section 2 of ordinance 1891. Okay, then if you go to section 3, where that ordinance exempts other ordinance, and under letter N, which is right in front of you, it says all charter ordinances, okay? That means that charter ordinances are exempt from that ordinance.
An ordinance cannot change a charter ordinance. It's illegal by Kansas law. Not only that, right here in Charter Ordinance number 9, it says, Section 5 of Charter Ordinance number 8 is hereby amended to read. I asked for Charter Ordinance number 8, and I still haven't received it. Where is Charter?
you have.
Charter
You
Ordinance
have.
number 8.
Right
It's on
here.
your
in
email.
your email.
This is Charter Ordinance number 6.
And 8 was in there too in the email.
8 is supposed to be in a code book, but it's not.
I
can
don't
pass
see
that
charter
down.
ordinance number 8. I printed all the emails.
So who's asking for this to be done? You guys?
No,
Asking for what to be done?
For the change with the chief of police?
no,
You and you?
we didn't bring it up.
Somebody brought it up.
Well, yeah,
It's been
been discussed.
discussed, it's been on the back burner
Yeah.
for a while, whether we should change it or not. I think that like I said, I think the current situation is what brought it to light that maybe we should look at a plan moving forward. Disagree or agree,
I
that's the
disagree
background of
totally.
why it's here.
Yeah.
But the other thing that ordinance 1900 goes against, it goes against the Kansas state of constitution.
Where?
Section 12, chapter 4, where
Yeah,
is that?
Article 12, Section 5C4, which states, each charter ordinance enacted shall control and prevail over any prior or subsequent act of governing body of the city and may be repealed by amended only by a charter ordinance.
Not by a regular general ordinance.
Not
Only by
not an ordinary ordinance, but another charter ordinance.
And so you're a lawyer?
It's right there.
I'm-
It's in the Kansas State Constitution. And we also got a letter from Attorney General's opinion also
It
stating
also states that.
that furthermore, an ordinary ordinance is not sufficient to amend a charter ordinance.
So who got the Attorney General's opinion?
All this information I got is from Terry Hughes.
Exactly.
It's
It's all
It is
it's all
fact.
public information. Who cares
Well,
where
no,
it came
no, I
from?
think
Here's the
it
thing.
goes
When
back to we
there's-
table this discussion.
Right.
We need to get legal
Where there's lack of
counsel.
clarity, we should seek clarity.
That's right.
I mean, can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, this is what section 3 of 1891 actually says. It says, same accepting certain ordinances from repeal. And under letter N, it says all charter ordinance. We never changed that. What we should have actually did is not even put ordinance 1900 on the table. We should have just made out another charter ordinance the way we want it written. That's what we should have did.
I don't think
But we
anybody's.
didn't. This was passed so fast that
Well, that was, I think if
there
that's
was no
what,
investigation on
that's
it.
what we need to do, if that's what we need to do, we have a discussion, we do that. But arguing about it right now is not gonna get us anywhere.
And
Bring
the-
information.
The thing is, before this was ever brought to council, it should have gone to admin and finance. It should have gone to council first, or to a committee first.
No. What it should have actually done, we should have had another charter ordinance to repeal charter order numbers 9, to make the words what we wanted to word.
And at this, I mean, at any
And-
point, we can devolve it to a committee if we want, but I do think we need to make sure we utilize our council and
Definitely needs to go through
to
him.
get clarity. So can we do an admin and finance committee meeting with our council present?
Yes.
I mean, we can, I just don't know when he's available.
So
And I know we have our meeting next Monday for admin.
Well, can we can we add this to the admin and finance committee meeting next
If-
Monday?
If he's available, yeah, otherwise I'll just have him.
What I want to know, I want to find out we got 3 pieces of
Gone.
information here that an ordinary city ordinance cannot amend a charter ordinance. And we did that. How do we do it? Well, Kansas State of Constitution says we can't. Our ordinance 1891 says we can't. So how do we do it? That is the question.
You give it to the attorney. That's how you take care of it.
we don't know all that.
And my other question.
How is that possible?
My other question is, let's say that the police department is investigating our city administrator for a crime. He can say, you're fired. Now there's no crime to investigate. That's why a lot of cities hold it for the mayor and the council. It's a completely different situation than a water or sewer or, if you think about it. All he has to do is fire him. Then there's no investigation. There's no accountability. We have to protect everybody. It's a unique situation, and a lot of cities, not just big cities, the police chief is hired and fired by the mayor and city council. And it's one of those main reasons is that situation right there.
I would say that it's fairly even between the two, whether it's between the chief administrative officer or if it's with the council. However, for that situation, you would hope that they would pass it off to outside investigative unit, so that way it is done fairly and it can continue on if something like that were to happen. So there are things in place either way.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, there's basically two questions at play here. There's if the way we have it set up now is legal, and then there's the do we want it the way we have it set up now? Am I wrong?
What I want to propose is get away in ordinance 1900 and get another charter ordinance the way we want it worded.
If nothing else, it would clarify the situation and make sure we're on the same.
And I try to get a hold of one of the law professors at Washburn University that specializes in Kansas political laws, and he's never returned my call. So if you could pass that on to our attorney or another outside, because I really think we need a charter ordinance the way we want to write it, and get rid of ordinance 1900 because it conflicts with ordinance 1891.
And I don't think there's any harm if our attorney agrees to seek expert opinion on these matters, because I know it's a specialty area of law. So it makes sense for us to do that as well.
If he studies these informations, I mean, it's all there if you look it up on the website.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kansas Attorney General, the Kansas State Constitution, and our own ordinance in 1891 says we can't do it.
They're all conflicting.
So I say whether our attorney can attend.
So my only question is, why didn't this get brought up when we changed it? How many years ago was it?
How didn't it get caught?
Yeah.
I think it's another good question.
It was, I believe it was brought up, but not fully vetted.
Okay. But just asking.
It's never too late to do the right thing.
I don't know if anybody else was on the council at that time.
See, 2 years ago, Terry Hughes brought up, he wanted Kansas Attorney General's opinion then, and it got voted down.
That council
But
voted.
it just bogs my mind why we don't do this.
Well, who was on that council that time?
Well, and that was 2 years ago too, not when it was passed. So that was,
Okay.
that was even a couple years after
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
So.
it was,
All right.
Before we got on,
I was on.
wasn't on.
But
So
the
anyway,
Attorney
so
General was
I don't-
called at the time, and they
Whether-
did not give any opinion.
I was on and I don't
Whether
remember that.
Whether our,
It never went to the Attorney General. It
The
got voted
Attorney
down.
General was called
By who?
By who?
by either Austin or John.
I do not remember that.
And we know that, but
Right.
how?
There's a
I
record.
just know that was,
Well,
that was what
it's-
was said.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Regardless of if our attorney can attend the Admin and Finance Committee meeting, since the call hasn't gone out, we should, I think, add it to the discussion for that meeting. But we should try to see if we can get the attorney there, and if nothing else, we can get a very concise ask out of that committee for what we need out of our attorney, and then if he can't answer it, then he can get the assistance he needs to answer it.
Okay.
That seem,
I do not remember when his scheduled leave is.
okay,
I know he's gone right now, but I don't remember what day he comes back.
okay,
So I will get in touch with him as best I can.
okay.
Heard he's out where there's no service, no Wi-Fi, that type of stuff, so.
Okay. All right.
Well, and I think if we have to wait an extra week,
Yeah,
we're not gonna make changes
Yeah.
next week or 2 weeks from now.
No, but like all processes, the best direction for them to move is forward.
Well, yeah, but we need to have, I feel better with a face-to-face.
Right.
Oh, I
With them.
I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but I know he
Even
likes
if
to
it's
have
at 2
time.
o'clock in the afternoon.
I know he's busy, and I know he likes to have time to work through things, so I would just as soon
Yeah.
we get him that information soon to not delay it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to line item number 8, the North Central Regional Planning Commission's request, belated request for a 1-month extension on the lagoon project.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
For us new guys in the room, why do we have to ask for an extension on it?
So we've already asked for 2 separate extensions and have been granted. This one, we're running right up to the deadline. The deadline's on the 14th to get all the paperwork in. They're needing a little bit of extra time. They think that they could still do it really quickly, but the extra month would be able
Is that
to.
just so the money comes, like, if they don't meet
Well,
the deadline?
there is
like,
that part of it, yes.
Paid or what? That's what I'm asking. What's the reason we have to, not like, I understand stuff gets delayed.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
no problem. I'm just curious why we have to ask, what will we lose if we don't get the extension granted?
Yeah, I would say the last set of bills would not be able to get paid through the CDBG.
Okay.
So we're nearing the finish line, just this extension will help make sure we get everything in. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving on to notices and hearings. We will now recess the regular meeting and open the public hearing in regards to the Kester Block Commercial Buildings CDBG. Opening public comment now. Seeing no public comment, we will close public comment on the hearing. I need a motion to close the hearing.
Move to close the public hearing on the Kester Block Commercial Buildings,
Second.
CDBG.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we now will return to the regular meeting and to the consent agenda.
I would like to pull one thing out of the consent
Okay,
agenda.
which one would you like to pull?
The gift certificates for the employees.
Okay. So you want to approve 1, 2, 3, and 4? Or 1, there's 2 twos. 1, 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah.
That was awful
1,
tricky.
2B.
Hold your
3,
fingers up,
4.
Sammy. Do you have this one here?
Okay, so you'll move, okay.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve consent agendas items 1, 3, 4, and 5. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we can do discussion on item number 2.
I'd like to up it to $100 per employee.
Second that.
Give me one sec here. Okay,
I think our employees are worth it. The price of groceries and everything are this year and have been the last several years. I think it's in our best interest to take care of our employees.
what would be the additional cost of that?
Yeah, so currently, right now, with 28 full-time employees, it's $2,100, as is outlined in here. So obviously, 28 employees times 100.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, no, I mean, I agree. Costs have gone up faster than our gifts have gone up. And like we discussed earlier, we want to show appreciation. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to increase the amount to $100 apiece. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, next we have a presentation of appropriations ordinance 3834.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3834 in the amount of $228,535.46.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Snelling,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Weichman,
Yes.
Grom,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Zerach.
Yes.
Thank you. We have city administrator report. Josh?
Yeah, so as everybody on council, and I'm sure a lot of the public already know, Chief Matt Simpson has given in his resignation, and he has accepted a new position elsewhere. We wish him the best of luck, of course. The position is a very good position from what I've heard. I'll let him share it with the public when he feels ready. So we do wish him the best of luck. And then The cemetery crew is building a new fence for Potter's Field, so hopefully that continues our work with beautifying the cemetery. And then otherwise, our crews are generally winterizing all of our properties. And then once again, thanks to all that were able to attend the retirement party for Ruth. That was just on the 1st. So thank you all that were able to attend, and that should be everything.
Okay. You missed out. It was some good eats.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Josh. Standing committee reports. We had an admin finance committee report. I think we probably covered all the ground we had in that meeting. We are going to have another admin finance committee meeting this coming Friday.
Monday.
Monday the 18th.
It's on my calendar. Monday the 18th to discuss the youth advisory committee project, as well as now this
Total compensation, and then
compensation.
hopefully this other topic.
Correct. If there's any other topics that need discussed in that committee, yes, please advise. We will add them and hopefully get through them, since
Yes.
our last meeting ran long and we couldn't even get through all the items on the agenda. So, it will be at 5.
5 o'clock.
It'll be 5:10, 5:15 before I get there.
We will probably have the youth advisory first, since we'll have people attending for
Yeah.
that. So.
We also had a water and sewer committee meeting since the last meeting to discuss connections and connection fees, and how we want to proceed as far as mandatory secondary connections for secondary structures, possibility of building a program to, some kind of discount structure or other structure for multiple connections in one property. I don't think we made any firm decisions, a lot of conversation. Anybody else on that committee have comments about what was discussed?
Talked a little bit about party lines too.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do we do to help separate,
Yeah.
or force separation?
Do
But
we
I-
have very many party lines
yes.
left?
More than you think.
More than you think.
Because I had one in the back of my motel, and I had to have all these little old ladies get their own lines.
I think it's still an open discussion.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing discussion, because we have an old system with a lot of mysteries still within it, and luckily we have people at the helm who understand that. But no firm decisions were made. Ongoing conversation there. I do not believe we had any other committee meetings since the last meeting. Go into appointments and wage terminations. We have page 81, the interim city clerk wage. Anybody has any questions about that?
I think she deserves it, I mean.
Move
it's
to
a lot of work.
approve the wage for the interim city clerk.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded
Per
to
the recommendation.
approve the recommendation, of the
Yes.
Admin and Finance Committee at $31 an hour.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion?
And I think, didn't we decide to backdate it to when she?
She took helm of the position.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you? We do not have a city attorney here this evening. Does anyone see the need for executive session? I would like to do an executive session to discuss potential land acquisition, property acquisition, if that's okay with you guys. Won't need more than probably 15 minutes. If somebody wants to read it, since I can't.
This one? 15 minutes?
I move the city council recess and executive session to discuss possible acquisition of real estate pursuant to acquisition of real estate exception, KSA 75-4319. Got 6, this session will include the mayor, city council, city administrator. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:10 or 8:10.
Okay,
Second.
it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bro. I'll let you out.
They are not. Okay. Are there some that you would like?
Well, would you like us to file a notice to receive the agenda
If
and
you
minutes?
don't mind, that would.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
And then, do they meet Thursday,
They will meet this Thursday at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock
Here.
here? Okay.
Yes.
I'll forward it to you this week.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome.
Sammy.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not here for you, I'm here for that chamber bucks, you know what I'm saying? I'm just playing.
You got it, dude.
That's a carton of cigarettes there, Sammy.
Oh, you're good.
I know.
Hi, Chris. Hello. I was gonna. Yeah, could I talk to you later? Ask you about the department. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is that something, I'm trying to figure out how we can cover that, or is that proprietary?
Not at all. I mean, it's not proprietary at all.
Okay, is it all day?
It's not all day.
Okay,
We haven't gotten that far yet. I was told that once it gets closer, they'll reach out to me. And I did reach out to them and say, I want to make sure there's someone. Oh.
That was what she was calling for.
Oh, no, they told us. So they heard our whole
Turn to regular session. From executive session, no binding decisions were made. Does anyone see any need for any additional executive sessions this evening? Okay, we will move on to council comments. Lori?
They had a good turnout for Fall Fest, with the weather being kind of icky, but yeah, it was fun. There were a lot of kiddos down there.
Did you get a feel for people's preference, the Fall Fest on a Saturday versus the
Nobody really said much
festival night?
about it, no.
Kind of heard both.
I heard a lot of people would rather have it on Thursday night to stay with the tradition. I had a lot of people tell me that.
I heard that. I also heard some people say they liked that they felt, I don't know, like they could relax more, like they didn't have to get home and get the kids in bed.
That was what I had heard too, some comments like that.
Again, there's arguments both ways, but yeah, no, I agree. It was a pretty good turnout. The weather held off as long as it probably could have.
Yeah, it was nice.
But it was nice. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
Sheree?
I don't have anything, but I would like to say thank you for all the veterans yesterday. And every day.
That's right.
Every day they're a veteran.
And if you didn't make it to the veterans program at MHS, put it on your calendar for next year. It was a wonderful program. They've done a really good job with the veterans and music and escorting them in and reading names, and it's really nice. It's a moving program, and I know that there were 2 of this council seated on the floor, so I guess thank you to our veterans here.
What? We all sat next to each other.
Yeah, almost.
Well, you were right next to me, Chris.
No, you were a couple chairs down.
No, you were right next to my...
How much did you drink before you got
You were right to my right.
I hate to say when Jeff's right, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, thank you, Sheree. Colleen?
I'd just like to thank Sammy for stepping up. I didn't realize, and it never dawned on me that until she was doing 2 jobs, hers and
The interim
yes,
clerk role. Yeah.
yes. So thank you, Sammy.
Deb has been a big help.
Yes.
And Deb calls you so bright and cheerfully to let you know your packets are out there.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Jeff?
The only thing I have was one. Did we check the heat at the Kester Museum? Okay.
Did you not read?
I didn't see that one.
Or the council report?
I didn't see that one. That, and then I think in the future on Veterans Day, it'd be kind of neat to have a proclamation for the mayor honoring our veterans.
I agree.
That could be read really quick by and it doesn't have to be too wordy, but if it could be read really, really quick at the beginning of the ceremony or at some point in the ceremony. They do a great job.
Yes.
I mean, the last veterans program I went to was in 2005 after I got home, and I was a speaker, and I haven't been to one since then. And it was awesome. It brought tears to some people's eyes. So
it was moving, and it's really good too for a lot of the kids to kind of see it. I heard several kids, my kids and others, talking about, oh wow, they served in all the way from here to here, and they were all over the world. And I mean, it's good. There's a lot of veterans in our midst, and it's something that it's important to draw attention to. So
we'll try to put it on the calendar.
It'd be kind of cool.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Just some simple proclamation.
Yeah, I'll have Deb put it on her calendar so we can get it done ahead of time.
It'll be done in time then.
Anything else, Jeff?
Nope.
All right. Keith?
Yeah, during the last heavy rain that we got, everybody noticed this was flooded really bad. Where are we at on that project?
Sorry, I did mean to update that on my comments. We just got the final design, and we will go out to bid, I think it's the 18th of December. So they're about to go advertise that. So then I would assume that the project would hopefully start in the spring.
The 18th when the bids will be back, or that's when
they'll
go out?
That's, I will have to recheck my stuff, but I was thinking that was the due date. I was thinking that was the due date.
We can award it after the first of the year then.
What was that?
So we can award it after the first of the year then?
Yes. Thanks for bringing that up. No.
No, one other thing, I think I speak for everybody that's sitting up here. We do a thankless job. The decisions we make, either it's gonna make people mad or make them happy. We try our best, but I can guarantee 100% that we are not spineless. That's all I gotta say.
We're not what?
Spineless.
Oh.
Anything else, Keith? Kevin?
Just street sweeper's been out and about, and there's an awful lot of parked cars that haven't moved forever and ever and ever, and some's got flat tires on it. We shouldn't be driving around them with the street sweeper. If they want the leaves picked up, they need to get their cars moved.
Agreed.
Let me know if you have like addresses for them so I can send them out to the.
Make notes while you're out on the truck.
Yeah.
Well, I've always wondered that. Could not the street sweeper just write down an address when they drive by?
Or drop a pin? Do we have like a software thing in the?
Or you just say,
street
yeah,
sweeper?
go,
Yeah, there is.
here's one, here's one.
We got that travel map from
Oh, yeah.
Verizon.
You can probably see where they
It
go.
tells where the
'cause it
street
goes
sweeper
like
went so
this.
people can follow it.
I will talk to whoever's running the street sweeper at the moment. Right now they're kind of on a rotation so they can all learn it. However, also we'll need to start tagging cars and getting them moved. So.
That's all I have.
Paintball gun.
No. Chris?
Several things. I just want to say also thank you to Sammy for stepping up and taking the lead on this. Really appreciate it. But I also want to say thank you for the rest of the city staff that has to pick up a lot of slack and help her maneuver through that as well. And no, it's not easy, but it's definitely appreciated. Getting this information together and stuff is always a benefit for us to make good decisions, so it's definitely appreciated. Again, thank you to the veterans. I wish I would have brought that pamphlet. I would know who to thank for putting on that program, but the high school, I go there every year, and every year they have amazing speakers, good information. There's always lots of kids. They have high school kids, each one chaperones a veteran. So they take you around the high school, they go get you something to eat for breakfast, and they take you to your seat. They announce you before you sit down, like what unit you served in and how many years. And it's just, I was asking them if they got extra credit and stuff for it, and they said no, they just do it voluntarily. So it's neat to see students stepping up and taking time out of their day to do that without getting anything in return. I know I appreciate it, and a lot of veterans do. And it was really well put together. They did a good job. High school does a great job every year. American Legion does a honor guard firing, 21 gun salute and taps for it. And yeah, the speaker this year was pretty good. He almost got me to drop a few tears, so pretty lucky guy. Want to say thank you for Chief Simpson for all the years of service he put in and everything he's done for the city and for the PD. He's done an amazing job. Sad to see him go, but I know he'll do great things at his next position. That's all I got.
Chris?
Nothing that hasn't already been said, so.
Ditto?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I just had a couple things. First, I agree about, thank you, Chief Simpson, for, your years of service. You definitely are leaving the department, better than you found it. I'm, of course, saddened that you're departing, the chief is departing, but I do know that he's got a very good department built up with a good staff. So it brings me some comfort to know that we have good people backing him up, and I think all of our departments, that's something that we do, and that's vital to the continued operation of our city, is that we make sure that it's not just the leaders of each department, but everybody on that department matters, and we want them all to kind of learn all the tools of the trade and keep serving us, and we appreciate all that work. So the other thing I was going to bring up, and it's on the back of your agenda as a tabled or unresolved item, is we have discussed moving council time before, and since the daylight changed, and it got me thinking again about whether that's something we want to consider. Do we want to take it off the table? Do we want to leave it on the table? Do we want to?
I move we change council time to 6:30.
6:30.
I'm just putting it out, I'm just putting it out.
Okay, indefinitely, or
No.
you wanna
When we
trial
spring,
it?
yeah, when we spring ahead to springtime.
Go winter council hours? I assume, is this something that needs to be changed by ordinance?
Okay, I mean, we
We would have to look into
permanently
it, yeah.
set the city council time at 6:30.
Okay, why 6:30? I'm playing devil's
I
advocate a bit.
just threw it out there, like I said.
Why not 6:35, Keith?
I mean, 6:30 was mentioned last time.
No, I mentioned 5:30.
And 6 was mentioned.
I said 5:30, then
Six.
everybody
That's
can
too early.
get off work, do their whatever for 15 minutes, get ready, come to council and be home by 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
we could drag it out longer than that.
That's really not necessary, is it, Jeff?
and I would say, I don't know if we can do things temporarily. I know that the county has changed hours, like the health department things, on kind of a trial basis. If it's something where we want to try it before we buy it, I would not think that's a horrible idea. We might be surprised how much we don't like it, or we love it.
We can always change it.
Well, but if we have to draft an ordinance, I don't wanna lob any more work on city
My motion
staff.
still stands. If there ain't a second, there ain't a second.
Okay, well, it's been moved to move the council meeting time to 6:30 PM. Is there any second?
How about 6?
Okay, well, seeing no second, seeing no second, the motion fails.
I'll make a motion to move it to 6.
I'd make the motion to amend, council members' motion to move it to 6 o'clock.
Okay,
Second.
Second.
on the amendment to move it, to change it to 6 o'clock, okay? So we're voting on the amendment. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I didn't realize, sometimes I don't get back
Who
to
said
6
no?
o'clock.
Me.
Noes?
No, two.
Two.
Me and Keith.
Keith and Kevin. Okay,
So that's
so
why you
now,
With that, you know.
That's why you
hard
want
workers.
6:30, because you don't.
There's sometimes you don't get back till 7:20 or after too, so.
You got a box of tissues?
you can come late.
Behind you.
Okay, so now, just a little bit in the weeds, we should have just killed it.
Yeah.
So now the motion
I can
on the
rescind.
table is, what?
I can rescind.
You wanna rescind?
I will rescind my motion.
Okay, and that, your
And
motion
table-
died for lack of a second.
table the
Now
idea.
nothing is on the table.
There you go. Nothing's on the
So, Any
table.
changes being sought?
Nope.
Leave it.
Okay. Anything else that needs brought
Then we're
to us
gonna agree
tonight?
on it till-
Leave it on the table.
Oh, I got a question. When do we decide on the interim chief then? Is it when the,
That's,
That timeline has not been decided yet. I'll talk with the people within the department over the next coming weeks, and then from there, make that decision for the interim. And whoever's not chosen is still open to applying to the chief possession whenever that gets posted. And just because they weren't chosen for one doesn't mean that they wouldn't ultimately be chosen.
do you know when you'll be making that decision?
I don't have that timeline.
will you be
Yeah.
posting that, like, on the league or anything like that?
The full-time
Yes.
chief position? Yeah, so I'll probably be posting that on the League of Kansas Municipalities, CALIA's website, CLEAP, which is the Kansas accreditation, and then most likely through the Advocate.
Okay.
So it should catch a wide range.
Did you have any comments, I didn't ask earlier, on the timeline for any other open positions as far as the city clerk position?
At this time, I was hoping to wait a month from now to post. We're exploring a few different options for where to post. Right now, we're thinking League of Kansas Municipalities, League of Nebraska Municipalities, CCMFOA, which is City Clerk and Municipal Finance Officers of Kansas, and then probably through the Advocate as well.
Do we allow our city employees to bid for those jobs?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Just so long as we don't have any undue burden on staff while we're delaying, I completely am behind that. I just don't want it to be one of those where we're making you do double time indefinitely, so. Okay,
And I would imagine both of those would be open for a month to a month and a half, and then seeing what kind of responses we get from them.
So we're probably not till after the first of the year to have somebody permanent.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.